Multiplying and dividing fractions. First, we'll look at how to multiply fractions. To multiply two fractions together, we first need to multiply the numerators together and place that on top of the fraction bar. Next, we'll multiply the denominators together and place that value underneath the fraction bar. Lastly, you'll want to simplify the fraction. If we look at this definition, A over B times C over D, we can see that we'll multiply the top numbers together, A times C, and then the bottom numbers together, B times D. So the top number will be A times C and the bottom number will be B times D. To find the final answer, you need to simplify that fraction.
Perform the multiplication. Express the answer as a positive or negative quotient of two integers in reduced form. 6/7 times 1/6. We'll draw a fraction bar, and next we're going to multiply the numerators together. So 6 times 1 are the numerators, and then 7 times 6 are the denominators. 6 times 1 is 6, and 7 times 6 is 42. Now we want to simplify the fraction. So we want to think of a number that's divisible by both 6 and 42. So 6 is divisible by 6, and 42 is also divisible by 6. So I'm going to divide the fraction by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 42 divided by 6 is 7. My answer is 1/7. Now I want to note that if we look at this step here, we can quickly simplify our fraction. That's because I have a 6 on top of my fraction bar and a 6 beneath my fraction bar. When numbers are being multiplied together, I can cancel the factors or the like factors on top and bottom. So I could have canceled the 6 on top with the 6 on the bottom, and I would be left with my simplified fraction of 1/7. Either way works, and we'll end up with the same answer. For this question, we'll put our cursor in the answer box, select the fraction template, type in a 1 in the numerator position, move our cursor to the denominator position, and type in a 7. Now we'll look at how to divide fractions. The first step is to change the division sign to a multiplication sign. So here we have A over B divided by C over D. We're going to take this division sign and change it to a multiplication sign, which is the multiplication dot. Next, we're going to flip the second fraction. So the second fraction is C over D. So I'm going to flip it so the D is now on top and the C is on bottom. Next, we'll multiply. So we're going to multiply these numerators together, so A times D, and then we're going to multiply the denominators together, B times C. And lastly, we'll simplify the answer. Here we're going to divide 5 over 18 by 9 over 2. So our first step when dividing fractions is to keep the first fraction. So we'll write 5 over 18. Change the division sign to a multiplication sign. So I'll write a multiplication dot. And then flip the second fraction. So instead of 9 over 2, we're going to have 2 over 9. Next, we'll multiply as normal. So we'll multiply the top numbers together, which is 5 times 2, and we'll multiply the bottom numbers together, which is 18 times 9. 5 times 2 is 10, and 18 times 9 is 162. Now I want to find a number that's divisible or divides evenly into 10 and 162. So both of these numbers are even, so I know that they're both divisible by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, and then 162 divided by 2 is 81. So I can't reduce this fraction any further, so my answer is 5 over 81. Again, we'll put our cursor in the answer box, select the fraction template, type in a 5, move the cursor, type in an 81, and check our answer. Perform the following operations. We have 4 over 105 divided by 1 over 15 minus 3 over 20. We're going to follow the order of operations, which is PEMDAS, and this acronym stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, and then addition and subtraction. So the first thing we're going to look for is the parentheses. We do have parentheses in this problem, so I'm going to complete the calculation within those parentheses first. So I have 1 over 15 minus 3 over 20. Remember, we're going to multiply the diagonal first. So 1 times 20, then subtract the other diagonal, which is 15 times 3, and place that over the denominators, which is 15 times 20. So 1 times 20 is 20. 15 times 3 is 45. And 15 times 20 is 300. Then 20 minus 45 gives us a negative 25, and that's over 300. Now I can go ahead and simplify this part, and then I'll include it back in our original problem. So 25 and 300 are both divisible by 5. So I'll divide the top and bottom by 5. Negative 25 divided by 5 is a negative 5. And then 300 divided by 5 is 60. Now if you look at this fraction, we have negative 5 over 60. Those numbers are still divisible by 5, so I'm going to reduce it one more time, divide the top and bottom by 5. So negative 5 divided by 5 is a negative 1, and then 60 divided by 5 is a 12. So my simplified fraction is negative 1/12. And that's the answer to this subtraction problem. So now I'm going to rewrite my original problem, but instead of writing 1/15 minus 3/20, I'm going to write negative 1/12. Now I want to divide these two fractions. So I keep my first fraction, change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and flip my second fraction. So I'll have 4 times 12 over 105 times negative 1. 4 times 12 is 48. And 105 times the negative 1 is just negative 105. That's my answer, but I want to simplify it. So you can use your calculator to assist you to find a number that evenly divides into 48 and 105. Both numbers are divisible by 3, so I'm going to divide the top and bottom by 3. So 48 divided by 3 is 16, and negative 105 divided by 3 is 35, or negative 35. So my answer is 16 over negative 35. I also want to note that we can write this as negative 16 over 35, or negative out front and then 16 over 35. It doesn't matter what number the negative is on, as long as there's one negative sign in that fraction. Since our answer is negative 16 over 35, we'll first type in the negative sign. Next, select the fraction template, type in a 16, move your cursor, and type in a 35.